And I'm very pleased that our world has stopped for a while in order to flatten the curve and in order to help those that are affected by this. I'm afraid I also think of the many that we don't stop the world for. There are millions of children that die every day of hunger. There's a great portion of people in our world that don't have clean water. There's 70 million refugees now. So we stop the world for this. So can we start to think about changing the other things too? One of the things about values is that people will say, oh, I have values. I have values of this and I have values of that. And it's true. But, very often people only extend their values so far. They only extend it to their family or to their colleagues. And if we look at governments in the last couple of decades, many of them are not really caring for their citizens. They aren't investing in the social security net, for their citizens. A lot of them aren't investing in education. Some of this has to do with the Great Recession, economic concerns, but a lot of it has to do with because graft and corruption around it. So maybe I can want to extend a lot further. I hope that what this pandemic does is that I hope it makes us aware that we are all deeply, deeply interconnected. And the well-being of one creates well-being for all. And, as I read on the sidewalk the other day, we may be 6 feet apart, but we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. So can we extend our thinking and our values to respect not just a few, to respect each one? That's what we're doing now when we realize the importance of the grocery store worker. Everybody realizes the incredible importance of the nurses and doctors, but the grocery store workers, the farm workers, there's so many people to appreciate. Are in this world together, we only have one. So let's take care of it and each other. And I hope that we do that.
Yes, absolutely. So much to be grateful for and so much to recognize within those people that have always been part of our system that keep our facilities, keep our utilities, keep life running smoothly. And we just haven't had a reason to recognize them. But now we're almost forced to recognize because they are like the heroes that are getting out there, putting their lives on the line and keeping our life running fairly smoothly given the circumstances. And folks, I just also want to acknowledge, just like we're talking about gratitude for these people, everyday people, these silent workers, I also want to take an opportunity here to recognize the role of technology. Diane, so even when you're speaking just now, it did go off for a little bit, not as bad as before, but it did go off. But again, I just want to recognize so many of you are still hanging in there. Some of you dropped off, I get that, and I totally honor and respect your time. But the fact that this is even possible, what we're doing right now. Diane is about 600 miles away from me in Southern California. I'm in the Northern California, and some of you are joining from across the globe, live, as if we're having a living room conversation in the middle of a pandemic where we're not supposed to get out. We have this opportunity thanks to technology. Yes, there are some fluctuations not working the way that we expected, but can you fathom how many people, how much went into the innovation that is making this moment possible for us to enjoy and benefit from the wisdom of somebody you've never ever probably met from the other side of the globe while you're stuck indoors. So folks, while the things are not going well, let's take a moment to appreciate so much that is still available to us right here. Diane, with that said, would you lead us into a meditation, please? Take your time, take your own sweet time, and give us a nice, deep experience.
I'd like to invite you to center yourself and relax. You may want to close your eyes. You may want to keep them open. And I want you to think of one person that was very important in your life. And as you think of that one person who was very important in your life, think of the quality or the value of that person that made him or her important. Now I want you to imagine that everyone in the whole world has that value. What would the world be like? Values are a simple thing. Each one of us is naturally good. Each one of us has values at our core. It's easy to explore your values. You can explore them, for example, by thinking about the things that you love to see. Maybe it's pictures of your family or nature. Or maybe there's paintings or statues that evoke certain feelings in you. You might want to think of music that you love, words that mean things to you that are very important, poetry, books that you go back to again and again. What values or qualities are in those scenes and in those words and in that music? And I want you to think of a couple of your most rewarding moments in life. What value were you holding within? That made that moment so rewarding? Each value that you thought about is yours. You are a light of peace. You are a light of love. Everything you do affects you, the others around you, the consciousness of the world. So know how important you are, how beautiful you are. Commit to being gentle with yourself, to lovingly accept yourself. It's a difficult time. We all have our moments. But what is our aim? What are we creating? We're creating a world of peace, of compassion. And I hope a world of clean air where we love our earth and our oceans and value each and every one. Take a deep breath. Be in your peace. Be in your power. You are a very important being. Thank you.
That was so special, especially the last affirmation that we are all important on this earth. And every decision that we make is going to have such a big impact, not just on myself, but those around me and then the world at large. Thank you for that, Diane.
You're most welcome, Jane.
Yeah. So folks, now is the time for you to please pop in your questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom window. And those of you who are listening to us on YouTube live, go ahead and pop in your questions there. And then I have a colleague who's going to copy paste them over to Zoom. So feel free to bring it in right there. So Diane, as we are waiting for the questions to come in from the audience, would you share with us 3 tips for maintaining our well-being during this current shelter-in-place isolation?
Spend time reflecting on your values and feeling them. Maybe you feel them through prayer, maybe through meditation, maybe through mindfulness. But don't just think about them, feel them. Feel the love, feel the peace, feel the joy, feel the power. Be present as you feel those. You're creating energy. It strengthens your immune system, but it also makes the day so much more pleasant. And you're building up your emotional and your spiritual reserves. It also protects you from sucking in the anxiety and the fear that many people are experiencing. So enjoy being present, enjoy feeling your values. Another thing you might want to do is you might want to journal. Now, when you journal, excuse me, it's that voice. When you journal, a lot of people, when they journal about their state of consciousness, which is pretty normal. That's how people journal. But I'd like you to experiment. I'd like you to experiment because we all have a sad part inside. We all have a hurt part inside. So you may feel it comforting to let that part out, but use another part of yourself. We also have a wise self, a loving self, a nurturing parent, an angelic self, whatever you want to call it. So give that voice time to respond to the voice of frustration or hurt or pain. And let the nurturing voice listen to the other and hear and comfort. And together, sometimes they can figure out a way to help each other. One other thing I'd like to share is that in Living Values, we have created this theoretical model. And this theoretical model says that when we feel, or when we help another feel, So if you have children, or you have a spouse, or even with friends that you're living with, or even with yourself, when we feel loved, respected, valued, understood, and safe, we move towards our potential, and our well-being dramatically increases. When we feel or help others feel inadequate, afraid, shamed, hurt, and unsafe, the wellness dramatically decreases. So stay above the line. Evaluate your actions. Am I helping that other or myself stay in a space of being loved, respected, valued, understood, and safe? So those are 3 things.
That last one is something very profound. Loved, respected, valued, and safe is
And understood.
and understood.
But it's beautiful. What we teach in Living Values is we have many, many lessons for children, parents or teachers to share with children. And we're teaching social and emotional skills. But we also ask teachers to learn skills, quality teaching methods that help them create that atmosphere with the children. Simple things like listening and positive, healthy.
So Diane, can you expand on that a little bit? So that love, respected, valued, understood, and safe. How can you give us a simple tip? There's lots of parents watching this show, and perhaps the to-be parents as well. But how can you go from the state of the anxiety, the below the line you were talking about, the anxiety, the fear, and judgment, etc., to the above the line? Can you give us some simple, practical tips how we can go above the line?
Don't blame. Instead of blaming, communicate. Communicate with responsibility, communicate with positivity. For example, when a child has spilled something, just describe the behavior. Don't get upset about it. When a child spills the plate of spaghetti, or the milk, then say, oh, the milk fell. Okay, what do we need to do? And the child will say, clean it up. And you go, that's right, let's clean it up. So that's with a little kid. So no blaming, no negative words, just say what it is and well, what do we need to do? And go on with it. When a child is parenting tips, I could go on forever, but one of the things would be to spend time playing with your child, enjoying your child. If it's even 15 minutes a day, give your full attention to your child. That 15 minutes of full attention helps them so much, and it builds the connection with you. Listen to them. Listening to them allows them to feel understood. And what happens is that they settle inside themselves. And so they can then accept their own feelings, that it's okay to feel that way. They are then empowered to be able to come up with their own solutions. Allow them to come up with their own solutions. Give them the opportunity to play, to fail, to experiment, and be supportive of them. So many things. Allow them to help you. Allow them while you're sheltering in place. Let them cook with you. Have family game night, but let them cook with you. Let them clean up with you. If they're teens, let them be responsible for creating a certain thing for every meal, or a special meal for the family, once or twice a week. This is the opportunity to create really special memories. Have a technology-free few hours every day with you and your spouse and the children, being off the technology and doing things together, family time. This could be a really special time that you will remember the rest of your lives. What do you want to remember?
Beautiful. Yeah. There's an opportunity to create those memories, those picture postcards, or in this case, it'll be memories bank of things that we want to keep with us for the rest of life. Whether they like it or not, we are going to remember this. And what is it we want to remember? Beautiful. I love that. So I've got several questions here. So let's see. The first one is from Melissa. She says, how can we fight the degradation of values by media like TV and movies?
TV and movies have a huge impact. You're right, Melissa. That's for sure. Carefully choose. Choose what you watch. Watch movies, but choose what you watch. Watch movies that have a beautiful message, that are uplifting. One of the ways to judge a movie is by what's going on in your mind while you're watching it. How is it making you feel? So look at that. But if you have an older teen, for example, that wants to watch something that's somewhat negative, and he's old enough to make the decision, then be interested rather than judgmental. Why do you like that movie? What's in it that makes a difference for you? How is the protagonist? What value does he have? What is he trying to do? If you were in a similar situation, do you think there's anything else? I mean, if you have that, if you're spending that one-to-one time and you cannot be judgmental, but you can just be genuinely just interested, and maybe start with just one or two questions, but explore it, not with the intent to change their mind, because then they're not going to want to talk to you, but with the intent of enjoying them and discovering maybe with them. But with little kids, you can do so much. There's so many movies that should not be shown to children that are advertised as children's movie. There was one really good movie lately, and I thought it was like the first children's movie that was really for children out in recent years. It was the one, the white abominable snowman, the baby one, and anyhow, it's delightful. I assume you didn't watch it, Jay, or you'd be able to help me with the name. Abominable, that was it. That was the name of the movie.
That was okay.
Yeah, Abominable. But it was a delightful movie. It was truly a children's movie, and it was magical and joyful. Children are sponges. They will pick up from us. So if we can expose them to the things of caring and peace and kindness through books, through some video games or through movies, great. But limit little children especially, but even teens, limit their screen time, because it's an addiction. A lot of the moguls that invented these things did not allow their own children to use them because addiction was built into it. And what I notice is that it's so addicting that what's happening is that children's ability to delay gratification is going down, 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 and they want instant satisfaction. But what children really need is they really need love. They really need our attention. So shorten that screen time and increase the time of family time and their playtime without the screen. whether it's outdoors with nature. But with nature, children learn so much. And they develop a humility as well as a self-respect in nature. And just simple play is great.
You know, what you're saying is so not just pertinent to children, which is the context of this conversation, but I do a lot of work with corporate people and companies. It's the same thing: love, attention, and play. These are three things that I've noticed develop very deep, trustworthy, and profound relationships where there's accountability increases, productivity, creativity increases. So this is so true, you know, because we're all children in some way, shape, or form throughout our lifetimes. All right, so going on to the next question. When kids don't listen, what do I do? Please advise.
Yeah. When kids don't listen. I don't know if any of you have ever been a kindergarten teacher, but if you've ever been in a classroom and you're a kindergarten teacher, some children don't listen. Others listen. Some other children don't listen. And so usually what's happening is that the parent is speaking in a tone of voice that maybe the children have learned to tune out, okay? So if I was in a kindergarten classroom and I would say to a child, I want you to do this, and the child would totally ignore me, I would know that that child was not used to listening until the adult pitch was up here. So he thought anything I said in a calm tone of voice, he could pay no attention to. So I'd just look at the child and I'd say, what did I ask you to do? They had no idea. So you'd say, okay, I asked you to do, okay, let's go do it. And you take them by the hand and do it. So what's happening is that you may be saying things in a very lovely tone of voice and the children are ignoring you. So one, play with them, have one-to-one time, 15 minutes a day, and give them your full attention. Do that for at least a week. Try to ask them to not do so many things during that week. And then when you ask them to do something, if they don't respond, walk up to them and say, sweetie, what did I ask you to do? Okay, I want you to do it now. And stay there and follow through. Because what happens with children is that they learn, I can ignore this person because I'm enjoying doing this, right? I don't want to stop this. So I'm not going to stop doing this until the pain level's going to get greater. So they're used to that. So you have to retrain. So you speak and then you go up and you say, what did I ask you to do? Okay, let's do it. And you follow up. And after a while, the child will easily be retrained if you do it consistently. That my mom doesn't need to get up here because I need to listen to her when she's down here. I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I love the retraining part. So the next question is, the prolonged lockdown is making people go nuts and making them intolerant to the whole decision, and they are breaking rules, opposing government decisions, impositions, etc., not realizing it's for the good. What do you think it is inherent in humans right now that is so strong to oppose, reject, and become very aggressive to safeguard the situation of staying home? Where is it coming from? To what extent is that aggression justified?
I think a lot of people are in extreme fear and anxiety, and hence there's going to be anger. Because anger comes out of our fear and our hurt. And a lot of people are into that fear because it's not just them, but it's their families. It's economics. They're concerned about feeding their families. They're concerned about paying rent. They're concerned about losing their business. So yes, they're very concerned and they're scared and they're getting angry. And so when they're angry and they're concerned about themselves and their families, then they're not going to look at the needs of others. So right now in many countries, we're having a polarization. And our polarization is of those who are in fear, and those who want to, work towards a peaceful, united world. And they're not hearing or seeing each other. Personally, I don't think violence is ever justified. But the people that are violent or fearful, it's because they don't have that love inside. And they have needs. So what can we do about it? Yes, there's the global understanding, but everything that we can do about it is often local. So we can start with ourselves. So with ourselves and with our children and with our friends, because this is who we can make an impact on. And when enough of us do, then we'll create these circles. So in these circles that we're creating of compassion, discuss why we want to flatten the curve. If we flatten the curve, our hospitals won't be overwhelmed, and we can really safeguard our wonderful doctors and nurses and medical staffs, and we can safeguard the people that are dying. And I don't want to contribute to I would never forgive myself if I would contribute to the death of a parent or a grandparent, and we want to keep everyone safe. So help your children learn empathy, help them learn compassion for others, and praise them. I'm so proud of you that I know it's hard to not socialize with others and to only do it on FaceTime. And I know it's hard to stay 6 feet apart, but you're doing it. And I really appreciate your courage in doing that, because I know it's hard. So let them know how important it is, and name the value that you're teaching them, or the quality that you're teaching them, and say, wow, you're one with a big heart, and let them know what you appreciate them. So this type of teaching and these words where you describe their behavior and add a quality, these are very helpful to the kids, and these are something we can all do. And with the other people, like, for example, there was somebody at the ATM the other day, and he had a mask on, and I had my mask on, and he snapped at me and he said, "Don't get too close." And so, it's a scary time right now. I'm making sure I stay far away. They have their feelings, and to honor them, and to stay in your power, and to stay in your compassion, and to stay peaceful.
Yeah, beautiful. So the 3 top things that I have taken away from this conversation with you, by the way, the latter part of the conversation, I don't know, after the meditation, everything was perfect. We had no technical issues. There's no cutting out of voice, etc. So, just again, this is just testimony to show sometimes you just have to be at peace and just wait for the world to settle around you, and eventually it will. So thank you all for those who stayed on, were patient, and were resilient in helping us to kind of wade through that little bit of fluctuation there. Yes, I'm getting lots of beautiful comments that, she has pure love in her eyes. God bless her. Diane is so wonderful. We need more of her. So I'm having some really nice comments coming in. So Diane, I just want to say that the 3 things that I take away from this conversation is, number 1 is that we need to take time to build relationships. And this is that gift. This is that time that we have been awarded to build relationships. Like you said, it's only 15 minutes, but dedicated, undistracted, undivided attention to anybody we want to build a relationship with, maybe kids, maybe somebody else. And the second thing is listen to their story without judgment. I thought that was very powerful. It's not like we need to agree with them. It's not like we have an agenda to convince them, but just even listening to their rationale on why they're making that choice, I thought was very, very powerful. And the third thing is find a way to take time for play. Find a way to play. I really think that was beautiful, because in play, I think we drop our guards, we drop our egos and all these kind of prejudices, and then we can see each other for the beings that we are. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for your time, Diane. Thank you all who are listening. I just want to give a quick announcement for tomorrow. I have somebody on a different end of the spectrum, so to speak. I have Eric Kaufman joining us from San Diego. He's a dear friend, a meditator for a long time. And I had this beautiful opportunity to spend time with his family, having dinner with them last time I was in San Diego. So Eric is the CEO of a company called Sagatica, and he works with top executives in making their business go conscious. Okay, so incredible insights into making corporate America, corporate world, becoming more heart-centered and conscious businesses. So join us tomorrow, same time, same place, on the same channel. Until then, be well.
Thank you, Jay. It was a delight to be with you, and sorry about the voice, everyone. Okay, much love. Stay safe.